Hi everyone, I'm Aya, one of the engineers here at Imetric, and today I will be taking you through our click-by-click lab training. This training covers being able to take all of our data components, that being the pre-op intraoral scans, the post-op intraoral scans, and as well, of course, the ICam implant positions, and aligning those all within the Imetric iScan software so that they can be directly exported to Exocad and give you a very strong foundation for your restoration design and creation. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up Exocad and create our dental project in a way that the iScan and Imetric aligned components directly import into that. So when we open up our Exocad, we want to make sure that we have all of our client and name information selected correctly. Once we have that put in, we're going to go ahead and select our implant positions. We're going to make those an anatomic wax up, select our material, and mark them as screw retained with a scan body scan. Apply that to each of your applicable implant positions, making sure that they're the same ones you select in the Imetric software. And then we're also going to do a ponic wax up for all of our positions in between. If you're doing 2 arches, make sure you select it on both arches. If not, we'll just have it as that antagonist. You're going to save this dental project and open it up. Grab that dental project and drag it directly into that Imetric software. This is going to link those 2 projects and allow those implant positions, once they're aligned, to automatically be exported to Exocad. We have everything set up here. The implant positions look good, and now it's time to bring in our data components. We're going to bring in first our implant positions from Imetric. So those implant positions are going to be the coordinate points that have been captured from your specific patient. So make sure you open up the correct folder within your Imetric 4D data points. Drag in all of those implant positions directly to that Imetric software, change them to ICam bodies, and select OK. Once those appear, we're going to start dragging in each of our STLs. So that's going to be our pre-op and post-op soft tissue scans. It does not matter which order you drag these STLs in, just that you notate them in the correct manner. So this being one of our pre-op points, we're going to mark it as 3-shape or standard based on the orientation. The orientation that we want for these STLs is for you to be looking at the buccal side of those teeth, so directly at the teeth rather than at the palate or the upper side. So make sure that it's in the correct orientation, that you've selected these as implant because implants have been already placed, as well as that it's the correct arch. Once you verify that that has been brought in, you're going to bring in your other STLs as well. These being your pre-op STLs, we will mark them as undefined because no implants have been placed already. You only want to mark the STLs that have had implants placed in them, post-op intraoral scans, as implant. And again, make sure that the standard versus 3-shape is in the correct orientation. Once you have all of those brought into your Imetric project, we're going to verify the orientation of them. As you look at these STLs and those implant positions, also take a look at the white cube that's in the upper right-hand corner of this screen. That is going to give you the orientation of what is being showed. You notice here that all of the STLs are in the correct alignment, but the implant positions have just come in at about 180 degrees off. That is totally okay. That just happens based on what intraoral scanners you're using, how you saved it, but it can always be adjusted as long as those coordinate points are in relation to each other, which we do have. So what we did here is we reorientated those implant positions so that they are also facing the same way. We align these based on what is considered the top view. So what we wanted was those blue arrows that we have, those actually point from the origin, which is where the ICam body during measurement meets the interface of the MUA. And then we want that blue arrow to be pointing through the restoration screw into the open space of the mouth. So if it's an upper implant, we want that arrow to be pointing down into the open space of the mouth. But if it's a lower implant, we want that blue arrow to be pointing up into the upper space of the mouth. And how we want the view to be is we're going to look at what's considered the top. So as if you're looking at the top of the head, top of the skull of the patient, looking directly down into the mouth. And we're going to use the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, click that. Then we're going to go ahead and click the graphic that shows that arch so that we can reorientate it to match everything else. Once we've verified that that matches and is the correct orientation, we are set to go. There's going to be two separate alignments that we do in this case. If you have a bite scan where your individual arches from the pre-op are not already in occlusion, we're going to have to do a third alignment. So the steps of those alignments, if we do all three, would be the first one, bringing the pre-op arches to that pre-op bite. If your pre-op arches, those intraoral scans are already in occlusion, you do not have to worry about this step. Most of the time, people do not have to worry about this step because most intraoral scanners nowadays do export in occlusion. So we're just going to focus on those two separate alignment steps. That second one, so this first one being, we're going to make sure we bring that post-op intraoral scan, so that post-op soft tissue, to that pre-op soft tissue. Once we do that, the second half of this alignment is what we're going to bring the implant position, so those coordinate points exported from the ICam, to that soft tissue scan, so to that post-op soft tissue scan. The first alignment, which is the pre-op and post-op soft tissue, some people prefer to do that in Exocad. You can do that as well, but the implant position alignment to the post-op soft tissue, that does have to happen in the Imetric software to keep that precision in those really close values. So that is up to you if you'd like to do both of those within the Imetric software, or that soft tissue in Exocad and the implant position in Imetric. Today, I'll show you how to do both of those alignments within the Imetric software. So to begin that soft tissue alignment, what we're going to do is go ahead and click the glowing green arch in the bottom ribbon, and that'll prompt us to select the post-op soft tissue as well as that pre-op soft tissue. It'll then bring us to a screen comparing those two side by side with a graphic on the third side. And what we're going to do here is select 3 to 5 points along both of those intraoral scans to align them. Traditionally, a lot of people like to use a fiducial or palatal marker because it has great geometry that's identifiable for both and can be used as the kind of the breadcrumb to reference one to the other. For this case, since there's not a palatal marker, what we're going to be using is identifiable geometry along the gingiva. So here you see some of the rugae or other defined features within the soft tissue, whether that being bone locations, whether that being specific curves, or if you do still have any intact teeth left, such as a wisdom tooth, you can use that as well. Once we've selected those 3 to 5 points, we're going to go ahead and click Align. What we're looking for here is this camouflaged green. It doesn't have to be completely over the entire soft tissue, but a good camouflage of that green all across. Go ahead and click Iterate More just as the software is looking to run those points again. It'll turn into a darker shade of green. Once we have that, go ahead and click Accept. You've completed now the first step of the alignment. The second alignment that we're going to do is those implant positions to that soft tissue. Go ahead and click the 2 gray scan bodies in that lower ribbon. This is going to prompt us to that implant position alignment. First thing that we're going to check here is that the geometry of the healing caps, so those scan bodies that we're using for the intraoral scan, matches what we have in the gold graphic on the left. So you can see that right now ours match because we have the ICam refs indicated on the drop down, as well as you can see that the cylindrical ICam refs are what's being used on the right in that intraoral scan. If you did use some kind of other scan body or healing cap for this component, you can select that within the drop down menu. We have a standard library of healing caps that we install on everyone's software, but if you have a new type of healing cap or decide to design your own, please reach out to our support team and we'd be happy to integrate that into your software for you as well. Once you've made sure that these match, the next thing that we're going to click is the position right there. And so once we click that position, it's going to give us a red click center along that healing cap that indicates where we want to click to align. Now this is going to be a little different based on each specific healing cap. So looking at that click center, we're going to go ahead and click around that area on that healing cap. For this instance, what we're looking for is a speckling of yellow across that healing cap. Yellow is good here. That is what indicates a good alignment. So we're going to go across the arch based on the graphic that's on the left. So whatever implant position is glowing blue, that is the implant we're trying to align. Now, of course, this example is a very clean STL because it's based on a model, which is not always the case for every STL that we're getting from an intraoral scan. So let's say we're just having a really tough time and we aren't getting a good alignment where there's not a camouflage of yellow across, or we could also be getting some kind of orange alignment somewhere else, or the geometry is a little far off. What we're going to then do is, instead of the 1-click implant position alignment, we're going to go ahead and use the 3-click implant position alignment. That's going to be very similar to what our soft tissue alignment looked like, where we were selecting 3 to 5 points between both. But in this instance, what we're going to do instead is click on the specific implant position that we're looking to align. It's then going to prompt us to this side-by-side view of the intraoral scan and the geometry of the healing cap. We're going to go ahead and click those 3 to 5 points to do that alignment, ideally spacing them out as far as possible. Ideally, again, within a triangle to get that triangulation of points. And we can do that for all of those implant positions if we need. Or if you just have one implant position that's being very tricky to align, you can do it just on that one. Once you've made sure that you have all of those implant positions well aligned and they look good, we're going to go ahead and click accept. Once you've accepted, you'll notice that those implant positions still haven't fully gone to where that intraoral scan is, so they don't match yet, but you've completed the alignment. There's one extra step that needs to be done, and that's actually applying that alignment to that intraoral scan. So what we're going to do is go ahead to the upper right, click the 2 scan bodies with the green arrow. I just dragged over this pop-up to make sure that you can see where those implant position points are. And what we're going to do is first click compute transformation. So that's going to give us some values here. The main value that we're actually looking at is that RMS value. So looking at the RMS, that root mean square value, this is the calculated difference between the expected when it comes to those coordinate points and the actual. The goal is to keep this as low as possible because this is where we can actually see kind of that hard data value of making sure that our alignment falls within that guaranteed 5 to 10 micron value. So when we're looking at that RMS, and we'll have it highlighted for you right here, what we're looking to do is keep that below a 0.3 for the lower arch and below a 0.15 for the upper arch. And this really just guarantees that we can keep that precision, that very close calculated precision. And you'll notice that as soon as we clicked apply transformation, so we had compute transformation, we saw the numbers, then apply transformation, you see that those implant positions, those coordinate points, fly to the STL to match up. Once all of this has been aligned, then we are all set to go. What we'll do next is save the project, and we'll see that the naming convention pops up, just double checking that we want to save this. Yep, upper implants, we're good to go. Go ahead and save this project and the software will automatically close. Once the Imetric software has closed, we're going to go back to our Exocad project, and you'll see that within the File Explorer, in that same CAD folder that we had the dental project and just the preview PNG, now we have 4 implant position files as well as an STL that have come here. These are the aligned and saved implant positions from the Imetric alignment that we just did, from the alignment we just did in the Imetric software. So now that we can see that all of those have come into the same CAD folder, we are set to design. Go ahead and click design, and it's going to prompt us to our Exocad project. Once these implant positions have loaded into our Exocad project, we can select our coordinating STLs to bring those in as well. And once we have all those data components in, you'll see that the restoration screw and that screw channel has loaded in our Exocad project. All of these points have been carefully aligned, not only using the soft tissue to give that visual of what's going on, but also the ICam implant positions to guarantee your precision in building your next restoration. I hope this helped, and if you have any questions or would like any help, please do not hesitate to call our support number. We'd be happy to help. Thank you, and have a great one.